The gravel crunched under Daniela's heels as David, her father, slammed the brakes on the highway shoulder. She was wearing her graduation cap and gown, but he did not care. "Get out," he said, not even looking at her. "We need the back seat for Sophia's gift." He pointed to the massive orange Hermes box taking up her space. As she stepped onto the asphalt, he leaned over and delivered the line that would cost him everything. "Bentleys don't carry failures. Daniela, take the bus." He floored it, leaving her in a cloud of exhaust. She did not cry. She just checked her watch. The bus smelled like old rain and diesel fuel, a sharp contrast to the new leather scent she knew was filling the cabin of her father's Bentley right now. She sat near the back, her graduation gown bunched up around her waist to keep it from touching the sticky floor beneath her. Strangers stared at their phones or out the window. Tired faces in a tired city. They saw a girl in a mortarboard crying on public transit. Another broke student facing the real world. They did not know she was checking a balance sheet that would make their heads spin. Her phone buzzed. It was a notification from her family's group chat. A photo of Sophia in the front seat of the Bentley, holding a glass of champagne. The orange Hermes box rested on her lap. The caption read, "Finally got rid of the extra weight. Graduation vibes only." Her mother had hearted it. Her father had replied with a thumbs up. Daniela stared at the screen, and the tears she had been holding back simply evaporated. They did not dry up. They burned off in their place. A cold, clinical clarity settled over her for the first time in years. She had told herself they were just thoughtless. She told herself they were busy, stressed, or naturally gravitating towards Sophia because she was needier. She had made excuses for their cruelty the way a lawyer defends a guilty client. But looking at that photo, the truth finally clicked into place. This was not an accident. It was not a logistical error because the car was too small. This was a humiliation ritual. They did not leave her on the side of the highway because they had to. They did it because they wanted to remind her of her place. They needed her beneath them. Her struggle was the battery that powered Sophia's shine. If she was successful, if she was worthy, then their golden child was just average. They needed her on that bus so they could feel rich in that Bentley. That realization did not break her heart. It stopped it. It killed the last desperate part of her that still wanted them to love her. The daughter who craved their approval died somewhere between exit 4 and exit 5 on the interstate. The woman who arrived at the stadium was someone else entirely. Daniela unlocked the secure folder on her phone. She was not looking at family photos. She was looking at the final confirmation email from the Regulatory Commission. The merger was approved. Her AI infrastructure company, the one she had built in silence while living in a studio apartment the size of a closet, had just been acquired. The wire transfer was scheduled for that afternoon. $1.2 billion. She looked down at her scuffed heels. Her parents thought they were punishing a failure. They thought they were teaching her a lesson about the real world. They had no idea they were currently ghosting a billionaire. They were treating the most powerful person in their bloodline like a stray dog, completely unaware that the power dynamic had already flipped. She was not the victim on the bus anymore. She was the predator lying in wait. Daniela put her phone away and smoothed down her gown. Let them have their champagne. Let them have their Bentley. They were celebrating a depreciating asset. She was about to walk across that stage and start a war. And the best part was they would not even see it coming until the first shot was fired. The stadium was packed with 20,000 people, a sea of black gowns and eager parents. She scanned the crowd as she walked toward the stage, her eyes locking onto the VIP section. It was reserved for major donors and university trustees, a roped-off area with plush seating and shade. Naturally, that was where her family sat. They did not have tickets for that section. They did not even have tickets for the floor. But David and Eukarya never let rules get in the way of a photo opportunity. They had bullied their way past a student usher, claiming her father was a prospective major donor, just so they could get the best lighting for Sophia's live stream. They were not filming the ceremony. They were filming Sophia posing with a stolen program, her back turned to the podium. They were so busy curating their image, they did not notice the dean stepping up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," the dean's voice boomed across the stadium. "Today is a historic day for our university. We often speak of potential, but rarely do we see it realized so spectacularly within our own halls." Her parents did not look up. Sophia was checking her makeup in the selfie camera. "It is my distinct honor," the dean continued, to introduce our valedictorian. But she is more than a student. As of this afternoon, following a landmark acquisition of her AI infrastructure firm, she has officially become the youngest self-made female billionaire in history. The word billionaire hit the crowd like a physical wave. A hush fell over the stadium, followed by a low, buzzing murmur. That word finally got her father's attention. He looked up, confused, his greed radar pinging. "Please welcome," the dean shouted, "Daniela." The giant screens flanking the stage cut to a live feed of her face. She saw her parents freeze. She saw the blood drain from her mother's face, leaving her pale beneath her spray tan. She saw Sophia drop her phone for 5 seconds. They just stared at the Jumbotron, processing the impossible reality. The daughter they had left on the side of the road was not a failure. She was the most valuable asset in the zip code. Then the switch flipped. They did not look ashamed. They did not look sorry. They looked ravenous. Her father jumped the velvet rope of the VIP section. Her mother grabbed Sophia, and they sprinted toward the stage. It was a display of pure, unfiltered entitlement. They pushed past security guards, waving their arms and screaming over the applause. "That's my daughter," her father bellowed, his voice cracking. "That's my girl. We raised her. Let us through." They scrambled up the stairs, panting and sweating, their faces twisted into masks of performative love. Her mother reached out for her, her arms wide, ready to claim her share of the glory, ready to hug the billionaire she had refused to drive to school. Daniela did not step back. She stepped forward. She leaned into the microphone, her voice amplified to decibels that shook the bleachers. She did not yell. She spoke with the icy calm of a CEO firing an incompetent employee. "Security," she said, her voice echoing off the stadium walls. "Please remove these fans. I don't know who they are." Her mother froze mid-stride, her arms still open. Her father looked like he had been shot. The crowd went silent. "I am an emotional orphan," Daniela continued, staring directly into her father's eyes. "I built this legacy alone. These people are trespassing. Get them out of my sight." The security detail did not hesitate. 3 large men grabbed her father by the arms. Another 2 boxed in her mother and Sophia. They did not escort them gently. They dragged them. Her father screamed about his rights, about how he was the father of a billionaire. But his protests were drowned out by the sudden roaring applause of the student body. They did not know the backstory, but they knew a power move when they saw one. Daniela watched them get hauled out of the tunnel, kicking and screaming like toddlers. She did not feel a single pang of guilt. They wanted the best seats in the house. She gave them the best exit. People always ask why she hid the money. They ask why she lived in a shoebox apartment and ate instant noodles when she was sitting on a patent worth 9 figures. They think she was being stingy. They do not understand that in her house, financial transparency was a death sentence. She learned to hide her assets when she was 16. She needed braces. Her teeth were crowding, painful enough to keep her awake at night. Her father told her dental work was cosmetic and not in the budget. 2 weeks later, he bought Sophia a pony because she was sad. Daniela did not argue. She got a job at a warehouse, saved every penny, and paid the orthodontist in cash. They thought they were teaching her humility by making her pay for her own health care, while they funded Sophia's unlimited credit card for sushi emergencies. They did not realize they were teaching her the most valuable lesson of her life. Never let the enemy see your ledger. They thought they were breaking her spirit, but they were actually building a fortress. 3 days after the graduation disaster, her assistant buzzed her intercom. "Daniela, there are 3 people in the lobby," she said, her voice tight. "They claim to be your parents. Security is on standby. Send them up," Daniela said. "Let's get this over with." She expected an apology. She expected tears, begging, maybe a performative speech about how they had lost their way. She underestimated their narcissism. When David and Eukarya walked into her temporary office, they did not look remorseful. They looked like they were there to collect a debt. Her father marched in first, slamming a leather portfolio onto her desk. Her mother followed, her eyes hidden behind oversized sunglasses, sniffing delicately. Sophia trailed behind, filming a TikTok on her phone, captioning it, "Meeting with investors, big things coming." "You have caused this family a tremendous amount of pain," her father started, bypassing hello entirely. "Do you have any idea how embarrassing that stunt was? The dean called me. The Alumni Association called me. We look like monsters. You looked like monsters because the cameras were high definition, Daniela said, leaning back in her chair. I just provided the lighting. We are willing to move past it, her mother interjected, waving a dismissive hand. We are willing to forgive your little outburst on stage. We know you've been under a lot of pressure with this company of yours. She said company the way one might say rash. But her father continued, tapping the portfolio. Reparations are in order. You humiliated your sister on what should have been a celebratory weekend. You owe her. Daniela stared at them. They were not there to reconcile. They were there to leverage their own public embarrassment into a payday. We've put together a proposal, David said, opening the folder. Sophia is launching a lifestyle brand. Tifluence. She needs seed capital. $5 million. It's a drop in the bucket for you now, and it will go a long way toward healing the rift you caused. It's the least you can do, Sophia added, finally looking up from her phone. Since you ruined my vibe. Daniela looked at the proposal. It was 10 pages of photos of Sophia wearing bikinis and holding protein shakes. No business plan. No revenue model. Just entitlement printed on glossy paper. You want me to invest in this? She asked, her voice flat. We want you to support your family, her mother corrected. Consider it a tax write-off and a way to buy your way back into our good graces. They truly believed they still held the cards. They thought her money was just a new resource for them to strip mine. The same way they had mined her self-esteem for 20 years. They did not see a CEO. They saw a piggy bank that had finally learned to open itself. I'll consider it, Daniela said. But I need full access to the family financials. If I'm investing in the brand, I need to know it's solvent. Her father hesitated. That's private. That's the deal, she replied, sliding the folder back. All the books or no check. Just business. You taught me that. Trapped by greed, he agreed. He did not realize he had just handed her the weapon. She skipped lawyers and hired forensic accountants who hunt money for the government. Her instruction was simple. Find the rot. The files arrived the next morning. Polished PDFs masking a hemorrhage of cash. Her lead auditor returned 3 hours later with one tablet. We found it. A single transaction. $300,000 withdrawn 3 weeks earlier from her grandmother's education trust. The money had never vanished. It had been sitting there untouched until her father drained it. The trail led straight to a luxury dealership. One Bentley Continental GT. Custom paint. Princess pink. He had not bought that car. She had. This was not favoritism. It was theft. She bought the loan, took control of the lien, and called a repo team. When the tow truck rolled into the penthouse garage, her sister was live streaming beside the Bentley, bragging about manifestation. Her father tried to block the truck until Daniela stepped out with police. Fraud, he protested. You used my trust fund, she said. Legally. This is my car. The officers ordered him aside. The Bentley was lifted. Her sister screamed. The live stream caught everything. Her father exploded, calling it borrowing. You don't borrow from a UTMA account, Daniela said calmly. You were a custodian. You violated fiduciary duty. That's embezzlement. Then she placed the deed on the table. Her grandmother had anticipated this. The family trust included a bad actor clause if the guardian defrauded a beneficiary. Ownership transferred to the victim. I'm the trustee now, she said. This is my apartment. You're evicted. They had 60 minutes. She watched them leave in a dented taxi, not a Bentley. She felt no guilt. Only clarity.